the quiet girl, wait for me at the corner of the city. This is the origin of Jingshu's name. Under the iron-blooded management of the town government, Jingshu's family survived until the 9th year of the apocalypse, but at this time, there were starving people everywhere, and food was extremely precious. At this time, Jingshu accidentally activated the magic cube and obtained a portable space for farming, finally allowing her parents to live a life with enough food. But who would have thought that after being careful for so long in the apocalypse, she would fall into the gutter of her relatives? Jingshu regretted it. She shouldn't have asked her parents to help her aunt. Her mother always felt guilty. Your uncle's family died tragically. Now only your aunt is left. Let's secretly give your aunt some food. But unexpectedly, her aunt came to the door with her family. Sister, I knew you found Wang Tsungxi's secret granary. Otherwise, where did you get all the food? Take us there so that you don't have to send me so much. Isn't it enough? Don't worry. Only our two families know this secret in the future.
Jings.
Mother was stunned and angry for a moment. How could she explain this? I helped you because we were the last relatives. How can it be taken for granted? Jingshu was so angry that she kicked him out and cut off the relationship. Later, Uncle Sun, a close friend of her father, came with his wife and children. When he knelt down and took out the 100,000 yuan that he owed to her father for 13 years, he held it high and trembled, crying and said, "Please help us because I helped you in the past." He was indebted to his father, so his father had to receive the family of 3, and the two of them talked all night by candlelight that day. If this money had been used 10 years ago, it would have been useful. Now, in this end of the world, its only use is to start a fire. Besides, the favors we owed to us should have been repaid. Jingshu sneered, lit a pile of banknotes, and threw them into the stove. It's not easy to repay a debt of favor. After saying this, her father remembered the troubles of her aunt's food in the past few days and sighed, "This world is forced by food." Who would have thought that on the second night, Uncle Sun and her aunt would come in to kill them? In the chaos, Jingshu resisted too fiercely and was killed, but she also dragged a few people to die with her before she died. Hee, you just wait for the decision of the town government tomorrow. No one can escape. Jingshu thought confusedly before losing consciousness. It's a pity that the Rubik's Cube space cannot hold people. I don't know how long it took. I just felt a burning sensation in my throat, as if fire was about to burst out. Jingshu coughed hard a few times and suddenly woke up. She sat up abruptly and looked around in doubt. What came into view was a familiar scene, a wall of bookcases and computer desks, and a familiar big soft bed. Isn't this what my bedroom looked like before the end of the world? Jingshu's heart was pounding wildly, and she fumbled for her phone on the bed with some trembling. She flipped it out and saw, Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, 10:39. 2 months before the end of the world. She went back to 10 years ago. That 22-year-old girl who had just graduated from college. Reborn. Jingshu grabbed the quilt tightly, her knuckles turned white. She knew it was not a dream. 10 years of wasted life, hunger, and fear were so clearly engraved in her bones. She pinched herself purple countless times, hoping that it was a nightmare, but unfortunately, she didn't wake up. As if remembering something, Jingshu got out of bed and opened the curtains. The soft sunlight instantly shone in. Jingshu felt the sunlight that she hadn't seen in 10 years. The opening credits of these years flashed through her mind like a movie, and she remembered the chaotic scene before her death. Jingshu clenched her fists. She would never repeat the same mistakes in this life. She was happy that she finally saw the sunlight, and she hated that she didn't fight for it. In an instant, Jingshu experienced all kinds of joy, anger, sorrow, and happiness, and her mind was left with only a blank. A few minutes later, the familiar hunger calmed Jingshu down. It turned out that she had overslept and was hungry. Jingshu ran to the kitchen and found a bowl of milk, eggs, corn, and steamed buns in the pot. Jingshu grabbed the steamed bun and gobbled it up, picked up the milk and drank it, then took a bite of the corn. The chewy and glutinous taste instantly burst out in her mouth. At this moment, Jingshu felt that the happiest thing in the world was to eat grains. Although she had a portable space for farming in the 9th year of the apocalypse, it was a pity that many species had become extinct at that time, and there were even fewer seeds to find. Being able to grow something to eat and survive became a luxury for most people. Jingshu carefully peeled the egg, first bit off some of the egg white, which tasted fragrant, then sprinkled salt evenly on the egg yolk, put it all in her mouth and chewed slowly, which was endless aftertaste. High-end ingredients often only require the simplest cooking methods. High-end ingredients like eggs, whether boiled eggs, fried eggs, scrambled eggs, steamed eggs, braised eggs, tea eggs, can make the children next door cry without coating them with egg liquid. Young people who have not experienced famine disasters will never understand why the elderly would pick up rice grains that fell on the ground and eat them without feeling dirty. In order to eat well in the future, Jingshu thought about her Rubik's Cube space. The third-order Rubik's Cube is a Rubik's Cube toy composed of 3 by 3 by 3 small cubes. When playing, the colors of the 6 sides are mixed and transformed to restore to their original state. When Jingshu was 16 years old, she won the title of the fastest high school student to restore to their original state in Wuching in 6.8 seconds, and then she felt that it was meaningless. When she was 18 years old, her father Jing'an gave her a coming-of-age gift, Rubik's Revenge. The fourth-order Rubik's Cube is a 4 by 4 by 4 cubic structure, and the English name means revenge. After a few days of failure, Jingshu never touched it again. Jingshu's head also boomed, and then she lost consciousness. That's right, to activate this portable space, you don't need to drop blood or cast spells. You just need to restore the scrambled Rubik's Cube within the specified time, and it will take root in your spiritual world and recognize you as the master. Who can have such a big imagination to think that a toy Rubik's Cube is a space? Other people's spaces are either rings, bracelets, or necklaces. The more bizarre ones are that there is a space directly in the head of a superpower. Besides, the conditions for activating Jingshu's Rubik's Cube space are so harsh. If you are not reborn, you would never know such a thing. Anyway, fate finally changed at this moment. When she woke up again, she was awakened by the ringing of the mobile phone. The phone kept ringing like a death warrant. Jingshu staggered to get up from the ground, put down the fifth-order Rubik's Cube that was transformed from a fourth-order Rubik's Cube, and then picked up the phone to see the caller. Zhu Jingqi. Jingshu's thoughts were also pulled away, and the things that happened 10 years ago became clear little by little, and she pressed the answer button. Hello? Why aren't you answering the phone? I have good news for you. I have found Xingming Entertainment to support you. They have provided you with promotion, marketing team, personality, and packaging. Although the price is a bit expensive, the most popular ones are all promoted by them. Miss, you are finally going to be famous. Zhu Jingqi seemed very excited on the other end of the phone. Jingshu's memory was finally evoked. Her dream when she was a child was to be a star. Later, she was admitted to the third-tier art college in Wuching. After entering university, she realized that it was not easy to be an actor or a star. You either have to rely on your biological father, your godfather, or have an interesting soul. Because beautiful skins are all the same, but interesting souls are rare. Jingshu, who has nothing but good looks, decided to lower her standards. After graduation, she has been broadcasting live at home to become a popular female anchor, but unfortunately no one watches it. So, she asked Zhu Jingqi, the son of her father's colleague, to find a marketing team for her. In the early stage, they used zombie fans, a large number of barges, rewards, and popularity. In short, it is to pretend that you are a very popular female anchor to attract others to pay attention to you and reward you. I have sent you the electronic contract. You can print it out at the printing shop, sign and put your fingerprints on it, and pay a deposit of 300,000 first. Hey, Jingshu, why don't you say anything? Jingshu narrowed her eyes and recalled that at this time in her previous life, she was very happy after receiving Zhu Jingqi's call. Her parents supported her very much. Then she used the money scraped together from selling her family's car and shop to become an internet celebrity. After selling her personality, marketing hype, and hundreds of thousands of internet soldiers leading the rhythm in the live broadcast room, she did become popular. It's a pity that she entered the end of the world just after receiving the advertisement. In short, it was bad luck. In this life, Jingshu doesn't want to be a popular female anchor. Zhu Jingqi, thank you. I'm sorry to bother you during this period. I suddenly don't want to be an internet celebrity anymore. I will talk to my father and uncle. Jingshu said calmly. Zhu Jingqi was obviously anxious. Why don't you want to be an internet celebrity suddenly? This is your lifelong dream. At #UN%. Jingshu suddenly remembered that Zhu Jingqi worked so hard in his previous life because he secretly deducted 50,000 yuan. And afterwards, Jingshu's father gave him a red envelope of tens of thousands of yuan to express his gratitude. The most chilling thing was that the normal price did not require so much, but he did not expect that he would be half more expensive after finding Zhu Jingqi and using his connections. This was obviously taking advantage of his acquaintances and cheating people. I just don't want to be a boss anymore. Thinking about the space, Jingshu hung up the phone and closed her eyes. After silently chanting Space Cube, in her heart, the whole world changed. Sure enough, the spirit body came to her space cube. It was pitch black around, with only a huge Rubik's Cube emitting incandescent light. Each cube had its own independent border. Jingshu could see through and zoom in and out to look down at the Rubik's Cube space. First of all, except for humans, intelligent creatures, everyone in the space cube can be collected by touching it, including Jingshu herself. It all depends on her spiritual consciousness. Fortunately, she has absolute control over the Rubik's Cube space. Secondly, the initial Rubik's Cube space is only 64 cubic meters, but it can be continuously upgraded and expanded. The 1 cubic meter spiritual spring is the center of the magic cube space and cannot be moved. It keeps bubbling in the middle, irrigating the 6 black fields. The spiritual spring can produce 20 drops a day, about 1 gram. If the 6 fields are not planted with crops during this period, 6 more drops can be produced. The spiritual spring is very precious and the yield is rare. The magic cube space equals 1 cubic meter spiritual spring plus 6 cubic meters of fields plus 57 cubic meters. You can also understand it as 1 piece of spiritual spring, 6 pieces of soil, 6 sides of the soil can be planted, plants take root in the soil and grow in the space, 57 spaces can be spliced at will, and then combined into spaces of different sizes. Therefore, crops are not affected by space. As long as the roots are in the field, no matter how tall the tree is, it can grow. Finally, the time ratio of the field space is the same as that of the outside world. The role of the spiritual spring is to accelerate the growth time by 2 times and increase the yield for each drop. If you don't put living things but only vegetables and food, the time of the independent space is static. If you put living things, the time of the space will become normal. So it can not only be used as a permanent storage space, but also for raising animals. You can arrange the 57 independent and combinable small spaces as you like, even playing Tetris. In the end times when there is no sunlight and you can't grow crops, you can rely on this Rubik's Cube space. Coming out of the space, Jingshu looked at the 5th-order Rubik's Cube in her hand. It was the key to the evolution of the space. No matter how far away it was, as long as Jingshu wanted, she could call it back to the Rubik's Cube space at any time. The real Rubik's Cube space was in Jingshu's spiritual world, which others could not see or touch. Now the Rubik's Cube space is 64 cubic meters. If you want to upgrade it to a 5 times 5 times 5 is equal to 125 cubic meter Rubik's Cube space, you must first learn to play the 5th-order Rubik's Cube. So the system formula is very important. I will download all the formulas and save them later. I can practice the Rubik's Cube to upgrade the space at night. Now the most important thing is to stock up on supplies to prepare for the end of the world in 2 months. It is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Both parents went to work and came home very late in the afternoon. Jingshu has to take advantage of this time to write a detailed plan. But cuckoo, I'm hungry. Okay. Jingshu walked into the kitchen, rolled up her sleeves, and began to wash the rice, cut the sausage, wash the vegetables, and then grease the bottom of the casserole. After it was cooked, Jingshu turned off the fire, beat 2 eggs, and continued to simmer for 5 minutes, then opened the lid and poured the sauce on it. The rice fragrance mixed with the cured meat had completely melted into the clay pot rice, and the 2 sunny-side eggs exuded an attractive color. The bugs in the end of the world are really not as delicious as rice. 1 mouthful of cured meat and 1 mouthful of rice should be chewed slowly, switching back and forth between the teeth and the tip of the tongue, so that the taste buds can get the greatest satisfaction. Finally, swallow the fragrant food, and Jingshu's feeling of happiness floated up. Compared with the various bugs eaten in the end of the world, the rotten corpses are simply worse than pigs and dogs. Carefully scrape the last piece of rice crust in the pot into her mouth, licked the soup and leaves. Jingshu burped, quickly washed the pot and cleaned it up, opened her mobile phone, and began to list the recent plan list in the notepad. With a plan, she can collect supplies and prepare steadily and without chaos in the next 2 months. At the same time, I downloaded the tutorials and methods of Rubik's Cube from level 5 to level 17 to my phone and saved them. I also printed them out and saved them in my space just in case. I was fully prepared. In the afternoon, after Jingshu made a list of millions of dollars, she found a big problem: no money. It's okay to take out loans at high interest rates. After the end of the world, the Iron and Bloodtown government is still there. If you dare to borrow money and don't pay it back, they will take it out of you and make you scream. Believe it or not. Jingshu wrote down ways to make money on her phone. 1. Sell the stamps and banknotes collected by her mother. 2. Sell the house in the city center where she lives now, which is more than 86 square meters. The whole family moved away the second year after the end of the world because the flood flooded half of the city. To be precise, 30% of the land in the world was flooded. 3. Sell the popular shop. In the previous life, I sold 600,000 yuan to raise tuition for Jingshu to become an internet celebrity. 4. Sell the 2 cars of my parents. Because oil control will not be open to the public after the end of the world, I will buy a cheap energy-saving vehicle that can be used for a longer time. 5. Find my grandson uncle to get back the 100,000 yuan I owe my father. The villa has 2 floors. Each floor is 168 square meters, and there is a large balcony on the top floor. Because the family is engaged in decoration, Jing's father decorated the house after the completion of the construction and also dug a basement, completely spending all the money. The villa cannot be sold. The location is excellent. In the previous life, the city center was directly abandoned and the town government began to build a new district in the suburbs. In the end of the world where the order and the country are intact, the villa has become a hot commodity. That's all for now. I'll write it down when I think of it. First, I will get a sum of money to collect things, and then start the next plan. Jingshu squinted her eyes and thought. Zhu Jingqi's WeChat kept beeping, and he sent a lot of encouragement to Jingshu to become an internet celebrity and use promotional words to promote her. By the way, I can lie to my parents and say I want to be an internet celebrity, and the money will come, right? Jingshu slapped her thigh fiercely. If it was still like in the previous life, wouldn't the money be solved quickly? Otherwise, there would be no reason to convince her parents to sell the shop, the car, and the house. Could it be that in 2 months, the earth will lose the sun and be shrouded in darkness every day? However, this is not terrible because in more than a month, China will announce that there will be a planetary impact and the upper atmosphere and distant debris will be able to quickly surround the earth and block the sunlight so that everyone can be prepared, and China will even issue generous subsidies. Unfortunately, they only speculated that there would be no sunlight for 1 month, but they didn't expect that the sun would be blocked for the next 10 years. What's more terrible is the disaster that followed. The temperature of the Earth blocked by the sun should have dropped madly, but in fact, the global temperature rose madly this year, entering a year of super high temperature, darkness, and water shortage. The disaster brought by high temperature is huge. Grain is completely destroyed. The most obvious thing is the rise in ocean temperature. Freshwater fish die from heat. Tropical areas become deserts. Sea levels rise. Island countries are submerged and disappear, triggering a refugee crisis. Then, floods and heavy rains begin the next year. Houses and cars will become worthless in the face of life. Jingshu shook her head, hoping that the trajectory of history would change. The past life was the past life, and there would be no apocalypse in this life, but the preparations should still be made. So Jingshu could not confront her parents. Space, rebirth, and the apocalypse could not be mentioned. Jingshu, who had made a plan, quickly found a reason to calm Zhu Jingqi. Let me calm down for another month. If I still like to be an internet celebrity, I will find you again, okay? After all, 1 million is not a small number. Zhu Jingqi, who had been bombarding with WeChat messages, finally calmed down and did not dare to push Jingshu too hard. Jingshu changed her clothes, put on her bag, pushed a shopping cart, and searched for 3,600 yuan of Jing's father's private money at home. She kept 100 yuan, 6,059 yuan in WeChat change, and borrowed 6,000 yuan from borrowing before leaving. Jingshu's mother manages the money in her family. Jing's father, an honest man, has devoted his whole life to the 3 women he loves most, his mother, his wife, and his daughter. Walking to the printing shop at the entrance of the community, Jingshu used her mobile phone to change 3 places in the electronic contract, changing the deposit to 800,000, the full payment to 1.5 million, and the company name. After printing it out and signing and fingerprinting it, she could go home in the evening to discuss with her parents about asking for money. The first thing Jingshu had to do now was to go to the largest agricultural product wholesale market in Wuching to buy seeds and seasonings. As the saying goes, if you have food, you don't have to worry. Even if tomorrow is the end of the world, she can still survive well. The biggest feature of this wholesale market is that it does not sell in small quantities. All goods are sold in bulk, 1 box or 1 piece, which meets Jingshu's current needs. It took 20 minutes to get there by taxi. Looking at the bustling market with vegetable leaves all over the ground and large trucks constantly entering and exiting to transport goods, she couldn't help but sigh. Who would have expected that a cabbage could be sold for thousands of yuan 6 months later? The wholesale market is very large, divided into large areas such as vegetables, fruits, dried fruits and side dishes, frozen preservation, and aquatic products and seafood. In the vegetable area where Jingshu was, the 2 rows of stalls in the middle were heavy trucks carrying boxes of fresh vegetables. Some had already sold more than half of their vegetables, while others had already been removed after being sold out. At a glance, there was no end in sight. On both sides were seed and agricultural seasoning retail and wholesale stores. Jingshu visited more than a dozen stores in a row before buying some of each variety of vegetable, fruit, cotton, medicinal materials, sugar, rice, wheat, beans, oil, etc. Regardless of whether they could be used in the future, Jingshu thought in her heart that at least she had to keep some roots for China. If one day there was sunlight and she could farm, it would be better than these things becoming extinct. Every store owner looked at Jingshu as if she were a fool, because there were more than 100 varieties of corn alone, not to mention all kinds of vegetables, fruits, and melons. It's like this. I'm from the National Agricultural Environmental Protection and Ecological Inspection Bureau. This is my work permit. Baidu photoshopped it myself. I need a lot of seed samples. If you have other seeds, please sell me some more. Usually the name should be long so that others can't figure out where you are from and what you do, and if you are related to the XX Bureau, it will seem like you are checking whether the products in his store are up to standard. At this time, the owner will put on a smile and start introducing you. Jingshu carefully puts labels and precautions on each package of seeds and finally gives you something else when you check out. For example, the roots of sweet potatoes and yam, the roots of potatoes, which are crops cultivated by the boss, are not worth much, but in order to contribute to the country, the boss gave some of each, and Jingshu thanked him and put them in the cart. The surprise was that there were mushroom bags for sale. Enoki mushrooms, Hericium arenaceus, and shiitake mushrooms did not need watering. They would grow in 10 days and produce about 3 mushrooms. However, as long as they were taken home, Jingshu would have a way to keep them growing. Mushrooms can be said to be one of the few vegetables that grow in the apocalypse. It saved countless people in the apocalypse. Although Jingshu vomited after eating oyster mushrooms, it did not prevent her from eating other mushrooms. Jingshu asked for 2 bags of each, wrote down the address, and waited for the distribution center to deliver them directly to her home. After buying the seeds, she continued to walk inside. Although the seeds were only 1 or 2 yuan, There were many varieties, and Jingshu spent a total of 1,030 yuan. Soon Jingshu found a large condiment wholesale store. As soon as she entered the door, there were 10 large jars of aged vinegar lined up, which was a spectacular scene. "Hello, boss, is the delivery free?" Jingshu looked at the shrewd female ant who was calculating on the calculator. "Free delivery for orders starting from 2,000 yuan. Check out what you want first. No bargaining," the old lady said without even looking up, and at the same time, she was busy shouting to the young man who was sorting the goods behind her, "Hurry up and deliver the goods from Yo House Supermarket. They are here to rush again." It can be seen that although this place is a bit remote, the business is very good and all the goods are purchased by regular customers. Jingshu walked in and began to look at the prices one by one. She had to sigh that the wholesale market was really too cheap. But the wholesale here starts with 5 boxes, 100 kilograms, not retail. Shangxi aged vinegar, 270 yuan, 5 boxes. Low sodium salt, 180 yuan. Soy sauce, 140 yuan. White sugar, 300 yuan. Jingshu felt that she must be crazy. Why did she drool just looking at these seasonings? Especially the small milled sesame oil, which is really mellow and fragrant when eating hot pot and noodles. God knows that there is no food in the end times, let alone the waste of seasonings that are byproducts of food production. If you want to eat in the future, I am afraid you will have to make it yourself. There is no seasoning in the end times, except for a little strategic material, salt, that you can get every week. These seasonings are really used a little bit in the end times and a little bit less. In the previous life, after Jingshu's house was washed away by the flood in the second year, she never tasted other seasonings. She either ate big pot meals or dug up rotten food. Rotten food is a new species that has evolved in the long-term darkness, a kind of rotten creature, a densely packed little thing that keeps multiplying together. Very easy to catch. Boil the rotten food in plain water, add some bark and salt, and sprinkle some chopped green onions if conditions permit, and it will be a good meal. Besides, seasonings like vinegar, sugar, and salt theoretically do not expire, and star anise, cinnamon, etc. are not subject to moisture and can be stored for a long time. You can stock up more and put them in the basement of the villa to avoid taking up valuable space. Jingshu secretly wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth and then said to the ant who was still counting the bills, "Except vinegar, bring me 10 boxes, 200 kilograms, of each of the other seasonings." The ant looked up at Jingshu. "All the seasonings? Are you sure?" Jingshu nodded and continued, "Yes, bring me 30 large boxes of aged vinegar." The specifications of vinegar are 5L portable jugs, soy sauce is 1L portable jugs, and the rest are 500g or 250g packaging bags. The ant seemed to have regained her composure. She quickly opened the list, raised her head and glanced at Jingshu and asked, "Bean paste, chili sauce, and chili powder are all selling well, and the profit is considerable. Wouldn't you like some?" Seeing that this little girl is doing it for the first time, she gave her a few words of advice. Jingshu thought about it. She would stock up on raw materials in the first month and process the ingredients in the second month. By then, she would definitely pickle a lot of vegetables. The chili sauce would still be made from the food grown in the space. As for the bean paste, she could also make it, but it just wouldn't taste as good as others. Then get another 10 boxes of bean paste. Jingshu swallowed unconsciously, which attracted the ant's strange eyes. This girl started swallowing her saliva when she entered the door. "I'm afraid she has some disease?" The ant swiped the bill, and Jingshu also started to swipe the bill with the calculator on her mobile phone. She was not the kind of person who would do whatever the store owner said. Besides, seasonings like vinegar, sugar, and salt theoretically do not expire, and star anise, cinnamon, etc. are not subject to moisture and can be stored for a long time. You can stock up more and put them in the basement of the villa to avoid taking up valuable space. Jingshu secretly wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth and then said to the ant who was still counting the bills, "Except vinegar, bring me 10 boxes, 200 kilograms, of each of the other seasonings." The ant looked up at Jingshu. "All the seasonings? Are you sure?" Jingshu nodded and continued, "Yes, bring me 30 large boxes of Aged vinegar. The specifications of vinegar are 5L portable jugs, soy sauce is 1L portable jugs, and the rest are 500G or 250G packaging bags. The aunt seemed to have regained her composure. She quickly opened the list, raised her head and glanced at Jingshu and asked, "Bean paste, chili sauce, and chili powder are all selling well, and the profit is considerable. Wouldn't you like some?" Seeing that this little girl is doing it for the first time, she gave her a few words of advice. Jingshu thought about it. She would stock up on raw materials in the first month and process the ingredients in the second month. By then, she would definitely pickle a lot of vegetables. The chili sauce would still be made from the food grown in the space. As for the bean paste, she could also make it, but it just wouldn't taste as good as others. Then get another 10 boxes of bean paste. Jingshu swallowed unconsciously, which attracted the aunt's strange eyes. This girl started swallowing her saliva when she entered the door. "I'm afraid she has some disease?" The aunt swiped the bill, and Jingshu also started to swipe the bill with the calculator on her mobile phone. She was not the kind of person who would do whatever the store owner said. Putting away her little emotions made Jingshu more determined to sell the house and car to stock up on supplies, so that the family of 3 could not only have enough food in the end times, but also live a good life. Just after dinner, the mushroom bags and seasonings arrived together. Under the strange eyes of her parents, Jingshu had dozens of large boxes moved to her bedroom. Then she took out the contract and showed it to Baozi's parents, explaining, "The marketing team that Zhu Jingqi helped find said that they wanted to package me as a food influencer and sell food while live streaming, so I went to wholesale seasonings this afternoon." Since she couldn't let her parents know about the space, she could only explain the reason for hoarding supplies in a fair and above-board manner to avoid arousing their suspicion. Jingshu felt that she was a genius and had come up with a way to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Why buy so much? Can you use it all? The head chef of the family always controls the economic issues. Hundreds of jars of kimchi require thousands of kilograms of vinegar. Jingshu pulled her parents to explain in detail what selling a persona is, hype, how much gu shuijun costs, how to take advertisements, and how much money one makes after becoming famous. Don't underestimate how much some parents will sacrifice for their children. They can sell their houses for their children to go to good schools, and they can still do so for their children's future. It takes so much money. For the sake of our children's future, we have to sell everything we have. When my daughter chose acting, we were ready to spend money. Didn't Mr. Liu next door also invest several million? The decision to spend money on being a host was quickly made. With only 1 daughter in the family, it really hurts to the bone. Jingshu added one more point. The second-generation rich cooks and sells food by hand. This kind of personality needs to be broadcast live in a villa, and some parts of the villa need to be renovated and improved. Jing's father is a decorator, so he can save some money on decoration. "Okay, I'll find someone for you tomorrow. The labor and materials are all cost price. When the money is freed up, we can decorate it according to your wishes." Jing's father supports the 3 women in his life unconditionally, no matter what they do. Sell that shop and then sell my car. Jing's father made the same choice as in his previous life, without hesitation. Jingshu nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. "Don't worry, I will get my money back in 3 months, and then I will buy you a better one. I have sold my car, but I still need 600,000 yuan. Jing's mother was a little worried. "Why don't we sell this house and live in a villa? It's more than 30 kilometers to work in a villa. How can this work?" Jing's father objected, mainly because the villa was too remote. Jingshu suggested, "The contract says that you should pay a deposit of 800,000 yuan within 3 days. Otherwise, you can sell the shop and Dad's car to pay the deposit. If you don't have time, ask your aunt, uncle, and aunts to borrow some for emergency. There is still a month to collect. Let's make parents realize the face of my aunt by borrowing money. I must kill this enemy as soon as possible in this life." So it was decided, and the information was registered on 58.com immediately. The price was low, and the price was urgent, and the full payment was required. "Dad, look, today is Uncle Sun's 23rd birthday. Did you give him a gift?" Jingshu showed Jing's father a picture on WeChat Moments. "No, this year. Jing's father was depressed. What should he give if he had no private money? Oh, Dad, look, Uncle Sun's son just got a Mercedes-Benz. He also said, "Thank you for the birthday gift, Dad." Jingshu saw her father's face darken after he finished speaking. Knowing that too much is as bad as too little, she quickly left. Uncle Suanzi owed her 100,000 yuan. She returned to the bedroom and closed the door. Jingshu first put the mushroom bags into a space that occupied 1 cubic meter and then moved all the boxes into the magic cube space. She used perspective to check the bags of unopened salt, chicken essence, sesame oil, etc. The quantity was correct, and the date was fresh. After confirming that all the seasonings were fresh, she put them back in the bedroom. Although so many seasonings sounded a lot, they were only stacked in 3 rows and did not take up space. Jingshu ticked the items she had purchased in the mobile phone list and marked the quantity. Sorting out the stored supplies was Jingshu's happiest time, just like counting money every day. Then Jingshu went into the Rubik's Cube space while exercising, closing her eyes, picked out the seeds that needed to be made into pickles and sauces before the end of the world, and began to plant them in the fields. The fields in the Rubik's Cube space do not need to be raised, watered, or pollinated. But Jingshu still decided to raise bees in the fields when the time comes, as honey can be used as a facial mask for beauty and skincare. Jingshu thought about it and made arrangements. 12 square meters of red peppers, with the blessing of the spiritual spring, can be harvested every 5 to 6 days, and can be harvested continuously. 6 square meters of pickled mustard, harvested in 7 to 8 days. Jingshu's grandmother is a master at making all kinds of pickles and sauces. 6 square meters of cabbage, harvested in 5 to 6 days, spicy cabbage, crispy pickled cabbage, sour cabbage, etc. Not only have a long storage time, but are not easy to attract attention in the end of the world. 3 square meters of white radish, harvested in 5 days, made into a side dish of pickled white radish, can be eaten for 1 or 2 years. 2 square meters of spring bamboo shoots, harvested in 5 to 6 days, pickled pepper bamboo shoots and pickled bamboo shoots are really a must. 2 square meters of cowpea, harvested in 7 to 8 days, sour beans are really a good partner for instant noodles. 2 square meters of garlic, harvested in 6 days, sweet garlic and pickled garlic. Even if eaten alone, Jingshu can eat a plate. The space products must be fine. The garlic in the space is different from those coquettish and cheap ones outside, and it is to cultivate garlic stalks so you can't be careless. Jingshu spread the seeds very densely, and then spread a thin layer of soil. Anyway, there is no malnutrition and uneven sunshine in the space field. Calm is very fast. Jing's father has received several calls and made appointments with several customers to view the house tomorrow, and even took half a day off for this. Jingshu will not join in the fun. Although she has no money, she can't waste time. She ran to get her parents' medical insurance card and went to the drug wholesale center to buy medicine tomorrow. It is next to Wuching Cancer Hospital. It is not only cheap, but also has no limit on quantity. It may be to facilitate the huge demand of the cancer hospital. In the previous life, Jingshu came every 6 months to bring a lot of medicine for the aunts and uncles. At the beginning of the apocalypse, the medical insurance card was limited to 100 yuan per day. Not long after, it could not be used anymore. Unfortunately, Jing's mother could not use up the tens of thousands of yuan in her medical insurance card. Jing's father and grandmother both had high blood pressure, and it was even harder to get medicine after the apocalypse. It was a pity that grandma and grandpa did not repeat the same mistakes in the first year of this life. Jingshu also asked Jing's father for the original design drawings of the villa, and prepared to modify the design herself so that she would not be blind when people came to renovate it. After the plan was ready, Jingshu returned to the bedroom and turned on her laptop, copied all the Baidu entries, maps, recipes, and medical knowledge, and downloaded a library software. Let the computer download. Jingshu read the tutorial of the 5th order Rubik's Cube and began to practice the 5th order Rubik's Cube. It was okay to spend the first 2 years of the apocalypse in the villa, but the villa was not safe in the next few years, and she could only run around with the big team. The current space is still too small. Jingshu needs to upgrade to the Rubik's Cube space as soon as possible. She still has a lot to prepare. Boom, boom, boom. Taught. Today's morning news: the soy milk blender made an irregular roar. like a cannonball, mixed with the rhythmic sound of neatly cut vegetables, as well as Jing's mother's dissatisfied nagging, Jing's father's aggrieved rebuttal, and the news broadcast. The same world, the same mother. It would be abnormal if she didn't vent her emotions early in the morning and woke up everyone in the building. Ah. I slept in on the first day of my rebirth. Jingshu turned left and right. In her previous life, when the apocalypse had not come, she was very calm no matter how loud the noise outside was. She could even answer Jingshu's mother in her sleep, whether she wanted fried eggs or boiled eggs. After the apocalypse, Jingshu became neurasthenic and easily woke up. She was afraid that there would be a big earthquake, a flood, or she would be surrounded by corpses from the rising tide. Finally, Jingshu finished washing with dark circles under her eyes. Jing's father and mother had already gone to work. The soy milk was still steaming. Jingshu added sugar and stirred it. She swallowed the egg pancake with sausage in one hand, finished a stack of cold cucumbers with 2 chopsticks, grabbed the last steamed sweet potato, and swallowed it in one bite without peeling it. The sweet potato meat and the tough sweet potato skin could not be chewed in the mouth for a long time, and the moment of swallowing it gave her the greatest satisfaction. The soy milk came out last, and the rich fragrance and light sweetness went from the tip of the tongue to the throat. Swallowed, the hot flow down the stomach, the whole person was warm and comfortable. It is said that Jing's mother cooks breakfast the best among the 3 meals a day, because breakfast is all semi-finished products, and there is no technical content in heating and cooking. When the money arrives, Jingshu must go to the frozen food center to buy as much as she wants. After eating, Jingshu went out and took a taxi to buy medicine. Jingshu also brought a credit card that she had never used before, with an overdraft limit of 40,000. The drug wholesale center is only 2 meters larger than an ordinary large drugstore. As soon as you enter the door, a shopping guide will come towards you with a basket, smiling like a flower. Hello, what do you need? After confirming the look in her eyes, it was a smile of seeing money. Hello. I'm here to buy medicine for my grandparents and relatives in the countryside. This is the hospital certificate and their ID photos, a total of 11 people. Jingshu took out the certificate familiarly, and some medicines were not allowed to be bought without the certificate. The salesperson smiled even more. The state subsidizes the medicine for high blood pressure. You need to register later. I want to buy more at one time. Otherwise, it's too troublesome to carry all the medicines. Can I use my medical insurance card? No problem. Leave your medical insurance card here. We have branches that take turns to use it. I'll call you to pick it up after you check out. The elder sister said skillfully that it would save Jingshu from changing drugstores every day to use her medical insurance card. Jingshu showed the salesperson the medicine her grandmother needed, and then it was easy. There were 11 people, which was a lot of medicine, and each person brought 2 years of medicine, which was enough. With the remaining 10,000 yuan on the medical insurance card, Jingshu bought common medicines, such as summer heat pills, medical alcohol, saline, cool oil, balm, Huaxiang Jingqi water, and Yunnan Baiyao. When she heard Jingshu wanted a box of balm, the salesperson's eyes were a little meaningful. I heard that many young people like to apply balm on their private parts to seek excitement. After leaving her medical insurance card and password and registering the information of her relatives and neighbors in the countryside, Jingshu paid another 200 yuan for delivery, and the goods were delivered to her home. After sending the delivery man away, Jingshu placed the medicine box in the living room. She had already thought of a reason to buy so many medicines. After ticking the medicines on the list on her mobile phone, she looked at the time, and it was only 11 o'clock. Jingshu went out without stopping and took a taxi to Wuqing Animal Husbandry Base. Jingshu urgently needs to raise a batch of livestock, and making air-dried meat and smoked meat is really secondary, really. It is mainly to test what dilution ratio of the spiritual spring can achieve the best strengthening for the human body, and to test whether drinking the spiritual spring will accelerate aging. Personally tested. It is very troublesome to bring medicine back to the countryside, so I buy a lot every time. Lingquan will not automatically supply the fields where vegetables are ripe, but they will become old and dry if they are not harvested for a long time. Does it mean that as long as there is Lingquan, the vegetables will not become old and dry? What effect will Lingquan have on animals and humans? So Jingshu came to the animal husbandry base in advance to conduct experiments on livestock of different sizes and lifespans. She didn't want to be weak and vulnerable in this life and be killed in such a cowardly way. She wanted to become strong in all aspects. She could be low-key in life and high-profile in work at any time. As soon as she arrived at the breeding base, a row of small truck drivers came down at the door to solicit business. Jingshu chose Sister Zhou, who had 7 years of driving experience, to transport livestock. The smell of various livestock in the breeding base was really unbearable. Jingshu quickly picked 15 hens, 2 roosters, 6 ducks, 1 drake, 5 rabbits, and 10 quails and swiped her credit card for 2,500 yuan. Sister Zhou was quick and nimble and moved the cages to the small truck in batches. Next, they bought a heifer for 4,000 yuan, a bull for 3,500 yuan, and 2 lambs, 1 male and 1 female, for a total of 1,700 yuan, and 2 black piglets, 1 male and 1 female, for a total of 1,000 yuan. They heard that black pork is delicious. Sister Zhou not only helped to identify the animals and bargain, but also asked the seller to give each animal some feed boxes, troughs, and other accessories. When the two of them filled the truck with the livestock they had bought, it was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Fortunately, the black pigs and lambs were small and did not take up space, and the chickens, ducks, and rabbits all had cages. But the chickens and ducks kept calling, and couldn't they learn from the black pigs and find a comfortable place to sleep? Using the navigation system, Jingshu asked Sister Zhou to take her to the villa. This place was also very remote, and there were basically no cars. She swiped her ID card at the gate of the community and drove for a while before arriving. Sister Zhou also helped to get the chickens, ducks, pigs, sheep, and cows down. Jingshu swiped her credit card for 350 yuan. "I'm sorry for delaying Sister's lunch. I'll compensate you 50 yuan. Sister Zhou left her phone number and smiled from ear to ear. Before leaving, she was still thinking, do people who live in villas like to raise pigs and sheep now? City people really know how to have fun. Jingshu didn't dare to use the space at the door of the villa. This is a real estate project built in 2018. Not far away is a community that can accommodate tens of thousands of people. Although more than half of the houses have not been sold, and those that have been sold are basically for hoarding houses. Who knows if anyone lives there? Who knows if there are cameras around? China has a population of 1 billion, and there are enough houses for 6 billion people. After opening the courtyard door, Jingshu was already panting after getting everything in. She closed the courtyard door and checked the surroundings before putting 2 calves and 2 lambs into the 4 cubic meters of space. It was okay if it was a little crowded because the space had other things to do. Then she threw 2 little black pigs into the 1 cubic meter space alone, 17 chickens into the 4 cubic meters, 7 ducks into the 2 cubic meters, 5 rabbits into the 1 cubic meter, and 10 quails into the 1 cubic meter space. Jingshu threw the troughs and cages in without locking them, and also found water in the villa and poured it in. The chickens stopped calling, and the sheep were quiet. The space was like magic, simulating the temperature and climate that were most suitable for them. The current use of Jingshu's space: 1 spiritual spring plus 6 fields plus 13 livestock plus 4 sundries, and there was still 40 cubic meters of space. Cattle, sheep, chickens, ducks, and rabbits would use the space at any time, but after making dried meat and smoked meat, Jingshu would leave a few for breeding. The diluted spiritual spring liquid needs to be prepared again when we go back. The feed can last for a few days. Once the vegetables in the space have grown well, we can feed them with leaves. Jingshu walked around the villa for a field inspection, and after further deepening the renovation plan in her mind, she locked the door and left. She wanted to find a taxi, but after waiting for 15 minutes, there was no one. She could only add 10 yuan to Didi to get a car. Jingshu went directly to the energy car market without saying a word. It was because she was going to renovate the villa soon, and it was really inconvenient without a car. When the house and the car were sold, she could use the energy car to go to work for a few days. When the end of the world comes, she won't have to go to work so far. After the end of the world, gasoline and diesel cars are like scrap metal because there is no oil, including natural gas. Only energy cars are very popular, especially when running around to seek refuge. If you have an energy car, others can walk while you take a car. TSK. I plan to buy an energy car sooner or later, so let's do it today. Energy cars have always been a hybrid of oil and electricity. Because the problems of power and endurance have not been solved so far, the market share is very low. No matter how much you brag, you have to charge it after running more than 100 kilometers, and the speed can't even reach 60. You have to watch it when charging, and charging is difficult. The battery may break down at any time, and it doesn't retain its value. But if there is a car that can run in the apocalypse, you can laugh secretly. No matter how powerful a gasoline car is, it is useless if it cannot be driven in the apocalypse. After all, oil is not open to the public. Jingshu said nothing, and went straight to the old model of BYD Song Max. It was subsidized for more than half of the price. It is a luxury 7-seater car with a large space, LED light to save electricity, 360 degrees panoramic image, and a few dollars for a charge. Now it only costs more than 60,000 to buy a luxury top configuration. She chose the red one, and Jingshu shamelessly took out a loan, swiped the credit card for a down payment of 27,000, went through the formalities, bought insurance, and got a temporary license. Jingshu drove the Song Max home. She learned to drive at the age of 18 and rarely drove her parents' car, so Jingshu's skill is that as long as you stay away from her, you can survive. Smile. After a lot of effort, Jingshu finally parked the car in the parking space of the community. She went to buy more than 10 bottles of mineral water. She returned home completely penniless and hungry. When she opened the door, she saw her uncle, aunt, and uncle sitting neatly on the sofa, and then turned around at the same time. Jingshu swallowed her saliva and looked at the time. It was 18:25. Oh, even if they were off work, why did they look at her like that? What happened? Seeing her uncle's family, who had not died tragically, Jingshu breathed a sigh of relief. Her impression of her uncle Su Yang's family was that she often went to his house to play when she was a child, and her aunt Wang Fong would cook some dishes that Jingshu liked. After her grandparents passed away, although they lived in the same city, they rarely met and only had a New Year's Eve dinner during the Chinese New Year. A global earthquake occurred in the 3rd year after the apocalypse. Wuching is in a basin, and earthquakes occur every 3 or 4 days, and basically do not exceed magnitude 6. It is not like Sichuan, which shakes twice a day, and there will be a big earthquake every 1 or 2 months. The people of Sichuan said that the earth was their bed that year. However, the Wuching town government still required citizens to live in the square and refugee camps, or on flat ground at night, and distributed supplies. Jingshu remembers it very clearly. That night, her aunt said, "Sleeping in the square smells too bad. There are teeth grinding, farting, snoring, and so on. There was a minor earthquake these 2 days, and there won't be any more. Isn't it okay for the Li family to go back home to sleep every day? Besides, Su Long can't stand such cold weather, so he will go back to stay for 1 night." Su Long is her uncle's son, 5 years younger than Jingshu. He is a son born in his old age, and he is very precious. Her uncle and his family went back home to live. That night, a magnitude 6 earthquake occurred. The epicenter was in the area where her uncle lived, and the surrounding buildings collapsed. There were no more sniffer dogs to rescue people, no more firefighters to search and rescue, and there was not even any news broadcast. No one investigated how many people died in this earthquake. Because it was the end of the world, many people died every day. More people went to pick up supplies. There were too few crops grown without sunlight. There was no cotton, no clothes, no quilts, and everything was missing. Many people came to pick up things in the ruins. Occasionally, they would dig out a few corpses and strip them of their clothes. Jing's mother cried and wanted to go find the body with her aunt. Her aunt cried and said she was afraid, so Jing's mother took Jing's father to find it. Later, they found it, and it was horrible. Jingshu felt that her mother spoiled her aunt so much, and she wanted to give her everything she had, partly because of the tragic death of her uncle's family. In this life, Jingshu no longer gave Jing's mother a reason to spoil her aunt, and she didn't want Jing's mother's brother to die again. Aunt Su Mimi, who loves beauty but is not beautiful, has a 20-year-old daughter Zhang Henin, and their mother-daughter relationship is not very good. Because her uncle-in-law Zhang Zhongyong's family favors boys over girls, Zhang Zhongyong cannot have a second child, so their marriage has been broken since then. Zhang Zhongyong raised a mistress and gave birth to a son. A few years after the end of the world, he passed away. Her aunt was forced to share one husband with 2 daughters. But Jingshu didn't know until she died that Uncle Sun and her aunt had been involved for a long time. Uncle Sun was really irresponsible. Even her uncle-in-law dared to pass away, but Uncle Sun only dared to come down to earth. Zhang Henin was selfish and hostile to everyone because her father didn't love her. As for someone like Su Mimi who repays kindness with enmity, Jing's mother couldn't bear to let her die, and Jingshu couldn't bear to let her die either. They always pushed her to the edge of the abyss, and then kindly pulled her up and pushed her again. Gurgle gurgle. Just as Jingshu was recalling the things in her past life, her stomach growled, and it growled very loudly at this weird time. Where have you been crazy again, you naughty kid? Call your uncle, aunt, and uncle-in-law to have a meal today, and discuss your affairs by the way. Jing's mother rushed over from the kitchen with a kitchen knife and handed Jingshu a piece of fried fish. Take a bite first and have a conversation with your uncle and the others. I was scared to death. Seeing the mushy fish, the aunt stood up and said, I'd better help my sister. Su Mimi had really had enough of Jingma's cooking since she was a child. She used to think she did it on purpose, but later found out that she was really uncoordinated. Su Mimi was proud that Jingma couldn't find a good husband, but who knows? Su Longji, who can't cook and does nothing, found a good man who loves her and gives her financial power. She also loves her daughter like a baby. Su Mimi, who can cook and do anything, will only despise her. He needs his approval for everything he buys. He is a male chauvinist. His daughter is just to keep company with a slut. Why? Su Mimi pinched her palms to put away her emotions. Wanna borrow money tonight? Dream on. Jingshu put the mineral water into the bedroom and found that the boxes of medicine she bought today were piled in the bedroom, making the bedroom full of seasonings even smaller. But fortunately, she should not have been discovered by her aunt, right? Otherwise, it would be troublesome to borrow medicine in the end of the world. After chatting with her uncle and a few others for a while, Jing's father came back. When the honest Jing's father asked to borrow money, a trace of difficulty appeared on his face. The shop makes money, but it is not as much as the money Jingshu earns by herself. Sell. 600,000 yuan was sold today, and the money has been received. Sell the car and the house. Lao Sun still owes me 100,000 yuan and said he would pay it back in a few days, but the contract requires a deposit of 800,000 yuan tomorrow, and the car is not easy to sell. The meaning of calling everyone here today is to lend some money to me and Longji first, and we will pay you back when we sell it. For the future of his daughter, Jing's father spoke up no matter how difficult it was. He looked at everyone nervously and expectantly. In the minds of Jing's father and mother, the money will be paid back in a few days. Now, it's just a matter of handing over. Everyone is a close relative, so they should agree, right? If it was them who were in trouble, Jing's father and mother would definitely support them without saying a word. Old Sun will pay back the money. TSK. So naive. Old Sun's money is with me. There is a saying that goes, if you are unwilling to spend money on your wife, there will always be someone who is willing to spend money on your wife to replace you. Su Mimi thought proudly and glanced at the man with the green hat and found that Zhang Zhongyong was drinking comfortably, not moved at all. This probably means that he doesn't express his opinion, so what does she have to worry about? Su Mimi gritted her teeth and pinched her palms with her nails. It was obvious that she was asked to be the bad guy and get rid of it. What entertainment company is it? Don't be fooled. There are too many ways to cheat money now. The aunt's focus is indeed different. The son of my old colleague of more than 20 years introduced the guarantor. Jingshu, bring the contract to everyone to see. Jing's father trusts Zhu Jingqi very much. Jingshu's heart skipped a beat. As a lawyer, wouldn't the aunt find out something? The meal was ready soon. It must be said that the aunt's cooking skills were recognized by everyone at the table. Jing's father filled the wine for his uncle and uncle-in-law, and after drinking 2 glasses, he got into the topic. Jingshu's dream has always been to be a star and a host. As a father, I'm very happy that my child has found a career she likes, and of course I have to support her with all my strength. Now the opportunity has come. The entertainment company has sent her a contract. As long as they pay a sum of money, they can make her famous. In the future, she will be able to make money on her own. I'm very proud of her. Isn't it just 5 million? I'll collect the money for her. Jing's father said as he raised his glass again and drank a glass himself. My uncle and my sister-in-law also drank a glass. My aunt and my aunt were silently picking up food on the side. Jingshu's eyes suddenly turned red.
She didn't know why.
Was it wrong to trick Baozi's father into going downstairs to borrow money? No, it was to let them get to know my sister-in-law again first. At the same time, see how well my uncle's family will get along in the future. Don't test human nature casually, because it can't stand the test. Why did Jingshu want to borrow money? First, let her parents know who helped them in times of difficulty, so that they have an idea in their hearts. Second, borrowing money to buy various supplies now is actually to help those who lend them money to avoid the disaster of the end of the world. After the end of the world, money is worthless, but supplies are valuable. Then they can use supplies to repay the money to help them survive better in the end of the world. She will not forget to be good to those who help Jingshu, and this is the reason for borrowing money. But if Jingshu is not lent a penny, will Jingshu have to send supplies and support ungrateful people after the end of the world? Jingshu took another mouthful of rice, and then went back to the bedroom to take out the contract to show her aunt, already thinking about what she would say after being seen through. Who would have thought that lawyers also have occupational diseases? The aunt did not check the company name, but directly checked the company's credit code, which is equivalent to the ID number. There is no problem with the company and the contract, said the aunt. That's good. I plan to get the 800,000 deposit first. Jing's father and Jingshu both breathed a sigh of relief, and then both sides fell into a silence that was even more awkward. Uncle Su Yang glanced at Zhang Zhongyong, who was drinking, and Su Mimi, who was eating. We still have some spare money. We are not in a hurry to pay it back. Let's borrow 30 first. Aunt Wang Fong glanced at the uncle, and the uncle was scared and immediately changed his words. Borrow 20 first. Ahem. Wang Fong coughed twice. The uncle's face flushed, and this time he said quickly, lend me 100,000 first. Don't rush to pay it back. Wait a few years to ease the situation before you do. Then he shook Wang Fong and said, transfer the money to Lonji via WeChat. Transfer it directly to Jingshu. Brother and sister-in-law, I will return the money to you in a few days. We are just using this money for emergency. Jing's mother felt bad, always thinking that sister-in-law was a little bit making them not pay back the money. So far, Jingshu has put the Aunt Wang Fong in a position of helping when in trouble. Jing's father looked at the aunt again. The highlight is finally here. Jingshu was a little excited, took the money transferred, and observed the aunt, who pretended to be deaf and dumb. Whether she can plant a thorn in Jing's mother's heart depends on this time. I hope the aunt will not let Jingshu down. Little sister, Zhongyong, please express your attitude. The uncle felt that he couldn't let it go on like this. Zhang Zhongyong's hand holding the fried fish stopped in midair and said with a smile, Xiaomei, you decide on your family's affairs. Then he put it in his mouth. Su Mimi cursed Zhang Zhongyong 100 times in her heart, and then she started to complain. She bought a house recently, but she was poor. The tuition for her child's art college was expensive. She was poor. In short, she had no money for the time being. Jing's mother remembered that her sister had just come to Wuqing and had lived in her house for 4 or 5 years without a job or a partner. No matter how poor she was, she never said a word of poverty. Later, she introduced her to a job, and then she found Zhang Zhongyong, who worked in a government agency and moved out after getting married.
Pa.
Zhang Zhongyong spat out the fried fish that was so salty that it killed people. He remembered that the little goblin not only knew how to fry fish, but also squeezed him dry every time. His mouth was dry for a while, and he remembered that she liked the BMW. Sister, we are really short of money recently, and we also want to buy another car. Why don't you sell the BMW to us? Zhang Zhongyong suddenly interrupted. Just after selling her left cheek, she was slapped by Zhang Zhongyong on the right cheek. Su Mimi complained in vain, but she thought that Zhang Zhongyong already had an Audi, so this BMW was bought for her? Su Mimi had always envied Su Lonji for having a BMW. Now, is it going to change hands? I won't sell it for the time being. Jing's father was reluctant. Although the car is 3 years old, it has only been driven for more than 8,000 kilometers. It is still a nearly new car. And you know Lonji, no matter how long she uses it, her things are as good as new. She maintains it very carefully. It will have to be sold sooner or later. Let our family take advantage of it. Sister, sell the car to us at a low price. I have never had a car in my life. Su Mimi was so happy that she wanted to fly. Jingshu was dumbfounded. She expected her aunt not to lend her money, but she didn't expect that their family would be so shameless and take advantage of their family. The key is that Jingshu doesn't want to have anything to do with them in terms of money. If she sells the car now, and it is broken in the end of the world, and her aunt comes to cry again, won't Jing's mother feel guilty and give a lot of compensation? She can't sell it to this family. My mother's car is not sold. What if the house is sold so far from our villa? How can we go to work without a taxi? Jingshu said quickly. Jing's mother was also a little hesitant. She wanted to sell it to her younger sister at a lower price. My dear sister, the deposit will be paid tomorrow. You can sell it to us and get the money directly. Second-hand cars are not so easy to sell now. Aunt, then you can lend us the money directly? Jingshu added. Su Mimi flashed an embarrassed look. You are such a joke, you naughty child. We only have so little money to buy a car. Jing's mother's eyelids drooped. It was the first time in so many years that she asked her younger sister, and she got this result. I'll call Lao Sun to see if he can pay back the money tomorrow. Jing's father really didn't want to sell the little BMW. After saying that, he got up and made a phone call. Not long after, Jing's father's surprised voice came. Okay. It's too much trouble for you. Lao Sun, it's settled like this. Transfer it to me at 12 o'clock tomorrow. The deposit was temporarily settled. The uncle's family transferred 100,000 on the spot. The aunt wanted to buy a car but failed, and she didn't lend money. It was a double blow to Jing's mother, which was an unexpected surprise. The aunt always went further and further on the road of self-destruction. In the previous life, Baozi's parents always didn't cause trouble to everyone and never asked for help. So don't test human nature. If you test it too many times, the relationship will definitely collapse. Tonight, Jing's father and mother are destined to be sad. Tomorrow, they will probably not only be sad, but also doubt their lives. Just thinking about it makes me a little excited. It's quite sad. Hey, growth always comes at a price. You will understand it only after you feel pain. Jingshu returned to the advanced space in the bedroom and inspected the living conditions of a group of rations. The black pigs fell asleep after eating the feed. The cows and sheep were very peaceful together, occasionally changing their postures. The little rabbits jumped around, with a large space for activities, and they pooped all over the floor. The surprise was that the quail laid 2 eggs and was still incubating them. The boss said that light can increase the egg production rate of quails. The light in the magic cube space is sufficient, and it is a luminous body. The 17 chickens were really miserable. There was chicken shit everywhere, and the 2 eggs they laid were stepped on and eaten. Jingshu had to think of a way later. Mark each bottle of mineral water with a number. Cut the white shirt into strips and write the corresponding number on them. First, feed cows, ewes, and sows 1 drop plus 250 grams of mineral water, and bulls, rams, and boars 1 drop plus 1 kilogram of mineral water. 15 hens are fed from 1 drop plus 100 grams in sequence. 1 rooster drinks the spiritual spring, and 1 rooster does not drink the spiritual spring. Jingshu wants to see the difference and their lifespan. Ducks, rabbits, and quails are also numbered and fed mineral water according to the numbers. Jingshu wants to test the difference between animals of different sizes and lifespans drinking the same proportion of spiritual spring. After numbering, tie a cloth strip around the neck of each ration in the space, and then put the mineral water into the feed space. Jingshu directly takes the water and sends it to the cow's stomach. The cow may feel that its mouth is inexplicably opened, and a lump of water inexplicably passes through the throat and goes directly into the stomach. You may not believe it, but the water went into my stomach by itself. Jingshu is skilled and quick in operation. After a while, she feeds all the diluted spiritual springs. Poor rooster number 0, nothing. The 6 fields in the space have sprouted, and some are several centimeters high. If Jingshu hadn't planted them herself, she wouldn't know what she had planted. Those uncles who voted for me every day, don't you like me anymore today? Oh. The space field is only infused once a day, and Jingshu only feeds them spiritual springs once a day. Each time, she feeds them about the amount of a mouthful of water, so the 20 drops of spiritual springs taken out today can be used for a while. After leaving the space, Baidu searched for information. Jingshu went to the green lawn downstairs and pulled a lot of dry grass home. Jingshu returned to the space again and used absolute space control to violently dismantle the chicken cage, let it lay horizontally, and stuck 10 centimeters from the ground of the space. Then she made 15 egg-laying nests for the chickens with dry grass, and also made nests for ducks and quails. In this way, the eggs laid by the chickens will be in the nest, and the chicken manure will pass through the cage and leak directly to the ground of the space. After a few days, when it dries up, Jingshu will mix the chicken manure with pig feed to feed the pigs. A flash of inspiration. Baidu said that it is good for pigs to eat this way, and it also saves Jingshu from looking for a place to dump chicken manure everywhere. But pig, cattle, and sheep manure will be a problem in the future. After adding more feed and ordinary water to all the little cuties, Jingshu exited the space and began to practice Rubik's Cube diligently. This is really not something that can be done overnight. Sometimes it depends on luck. The only thing you can do is to practice hard. Practice makes perfect. Try to upgrade to the 5th level Rubik's Cube before the end of the world. On November 3rd, the 3rd day of Jingshu's rebirth, after being woken up in the morning, Jingshu went for a morning run. Jing's mother and father were surprised. In fact, Jingshu was mainly here to deal with feces. Every time she ran to the garbage container, she stopped and touched it. She could instantly deal with one type of livestock and find the next one. It is said that the products of the space must be exquisite. Lingquan is so awesome. When I entered the space to inspect in the morning, I found that the feces had been laid on a thick layer. The space that was just right seemed a little crowded. The cows, sows, and ewes were obviously bigger and wailed with hunger. The males were a little bigger and not hungry. Jingshu quickly fed them feed and added water. Chickens, ducks, and quails all laid a lot of eggs. The more spiritual springs there were, the more eggs they laid. Jingshu divided 3 cubic meters into different eggs and marked the remaining eggs for them to hatch and see how long they would take to come out. She added 4 cubic meters to the sheep and cattle and 2 cubic meters to the pigs, leaving 31 cubic meters. The delivered feed was not enough, so it seemed that I had to buy some today. The spiritual springs should accelerate growth, intake, and digestion. Fortunately, I didn't drink them directly without thinking, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. After cleaning the feces, Jingshu went home to eat, so her appetite was not affected. Jingshu had eaten everything that was edible in the apocalypse, including the grain worms she raised, also known as maggots. The high temperature in the first year of the apocalypse killed many livestock and people, and there were many maggots born from the rotten food, which could be seen everywhere. Jingshu would never eat it, but when she was so hungry that she didn't even have the strength to speak, when the coarse grains distributed by the government became fried, braised, and stir-fried grains and worms in different ways every day, you'll find that you get used to it after eating it for a while. After all, it is meat. I don't want my parents to suffer the same hardships I have suffered, Jingshu thought, but I can watch Su Mimi eat it again. Breakfast is thick pumpkin porridge, steamed potatoes, a stack of garlic sprouts soaked in vinegar, and the staple food is pancakes. Jing's father and mother took a special leave to wait for Uncle Sun's money at home. After eating, Jingshu drove straight to the feed factory, wholesaled a whole truck of feed, and threw it into the space. Jingshu intends to raise some chickens, ducks, and cows in the villa, and she must buy enough feed. Otherwise, she will not find an excuse to take it out in the end of the world. Then Jingshu navigated to the aquaculture base, without stopping to buy fish fry. In Jingshu's plan, she dug a small pond in front of the villa and raised some lotus leaves, lotus roots, fish, and shrimps. She didn't have to worry about the lack of sunlight in the end times. She just needed to buy a lamp and generate electricity to ensure that the fish didn't die. It was mainly a cover. She would throw some fish produced in the space into the pond from time to time to have a good meal. Slurp. There were too many kinds of fish fry in the aquatic base, so Jingshu could only buy fish fry selectively. Otherwise, the small space couldn't hold many. She found a large-scale aquatic product store and explained to the boss that she had dug a small pond privately to raise lobsters, hairy crabs, various fish, lotus roots, and lotus flowers for herself and her relatives. After listening, the boss didn't recommend raising them this way. Mixed breeding would definitely not keep them alive, but Jingshu wanted to do it. Anyway, for Jingshu, everything could be raised in the space. Finally, She gave Jingshu a set meal and some precautions, telling her that it would be best to divide the pond into several areas, separate the fierce bass, catfish, and mandarin fish, and raise them together when they are a little bigger, eating the weak and curing diseases. Lobsters and crabs can be raised together, and crabs will eat weak and sick shrimps. In the end, Jingshu bought crayfish, hairy crabs, eels, loaches, crucian carp, silver carp, oysters, scallops, clams, black carp, sea bass. Too many, almost all kinds of them. The boss also told Jingshu that small-scale private breeding has great flexibility. Chicken manure mixed with bacterial liquid, plus wheat bran corn flour, etc., are all excellent fish feeds. Feeding crayfish mainly consists of high-protein animal bait, various animal carcasses and internal organs, and crops such as wheat, soybeans, and winter melon can also be used. If it is mixed with rice, it can also be raised. Driving to a remote place, Jingshu first dug some soil from each field in the space and spread a thick layer in the newly assembled 8 cubic meters of space. After all, loaches and crayfish like soil. Then put the fry weighing less than 20 kilograms in it and simply divided the area according to the boss's instructions to prevent the fry from killing each other. It was already 2 o'clock when I got home from a busy day. While cooking, Jing's mother was arguing with Jing's father, and the argument was quite fierce. From the smell of paste that overwhelmed the aroma, it can be judged that Jing's mother was very angry. Jing's father sat on the sofa, smoking one cigarette after another, and occasionally retorted, "He must have something important to do to not answer the phone, or he didn't see it. Then why don't you call again quickly? Isn't this delaying business?" We agreed to pay the money back at 12 o'clock. But one moment he said he would return it in 15 minutes, and the next moment he disappeared. If he doesn't want to pay it back, he can just say he won't pay it back. Why is he so embarrassing? He is a person without credibility. Jing's father was so angry that he refuted a few more sentences. Jingshu hid in the toilet, listening to Jing's father and mother quarreling with gloating. While running the water from the wash basin into the space, filling up 8 cubic meters, she ticked the number of aquatic products on the mobile phone list. In the previous life, in order to raise money, Jing's father also asked Sunzishu to pay back the money. Every time he agreed, he either disappeared or had financial difficulties. Later, when the money was raised enough, the money owed by Sunzishu was left unresolved. Jingshu said that she had not been forced to that extent. Today, she would let Jing's father feel what it felt like to have 100,000 yuan of life-saving money, and Sunzishu would rather eat, drink, and have fun than pay it back. Jingshu wanted Baoziba to recognize the reality. You treat others as a brother, but others treat you as an ATM. Jingshu planted lotus roots and water plants in the soil of the pool that filled the space, put in seaweed and other various creatures prepared by the boss, and added 1 drop of spiritual spring and some fish and worms, hoping to grow a batch of lobsters and hairy crabs before the villa pond was dug. More than 60 chicken eggs, more than 40 quail eggs and duck eggs were collected. There was still no news about the hatched eggs. After inspecting the fields, many green leaves had grown. Jingshu left the space with satisfaction and prepared to have lunch. Jingma's black pepper beef tenderloin pasta was ready. No one dared to disdain it when Jingma was angry. The 3 of them finished the dark dish in silence, and occasionally picked out charred, unknown objects from between their teeth. Under the coercion of Jingma's mother, Jing's father made 3 consecutive calls. Finally, grandson Uncle answered the phone. He apologized as soon as he came, almost kneeling down, and then said that he had collected all the money but used it up for an emergency, and he would transfer the money in 2 days. Look, he has an emergency, and he will definitely pay it back in 2 days. Jing's father finally had the right reason. Jingshu opened her moments and slapped him in the face. "Dad, isn't this Uncle's son and his wife?" His wife posted on Moments, saying that she had a great time in Dubai and thanked her husband for the 1-carat diamond ring. Jing's mother came over to take a look and sneered, "Such an urgent matter. It turns out that you bought a diamond ring." Jing's father took the phone and looked at it, feeling embarrassed and angry, especially Uncle Sun's smile. "Dad, forget it. I won't be an internet celebrity anymore. Our family can't get the money together. I'll just find a job tomorrow." Jing's father slapped his thigh hard. "I will definitely get it together for you. Dad has found a construction team for you. Tomorrow you will go with them to start decorating the villa. I will definitely find a way to get Uncle Sun's money back. Jing's father gritted his teeth. His daughter's future is more important than his life. Uncle Sun, I misjudged you. At this time, Jing's mother's phone rang. It was Sun Mimi who called. When she knew that Jing's mother was still short of 100,000 yuan, she begged Jing's mother to sell the car to them at a low price so that she could get the money immediately. Jingshu knew she was in trouble. It seemed that Uncle Suanzi and Su Mimi had already hooked up at this time. Otherwise, Sun Mimi would have called her right after he said he had no money. Jingshu would not believe her if she said there was no trick. If there was no evidence, Jingshu would have exposed this couple. Little sister, you know the situation of the car. It cost 290,000 yuan when it was purchased, and it has been 3 years and 8,000 kilometers. It has no scratches or accidents. It can be sold for 200,000 yuan. I'm in urgent need of money now, so I'll sell it to you at a low price of 160,000 yuan. Sister, my dear sister, I really don't have that much money. I only have 100,000 yuan. Aren't you short of 100,000 yuan? It's just a little cheaper. I'll buy you a big BMW when Jingshu makes money. Jingshu was anxious when she heard this. Did this person think he was buying vegetables? He just cut it in half. He was so cruel. It turned out that Su Mimi didn't regard them as a family before the end of the world. Mom, the villa is still being renovated, and it will take at least hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why don't we sell Dad's car first? We don't have enough money for my aunts. Jingshu quickly reminded him that it would be shameless not to sell the car to Su Mimi if he could. Jing's mother also said that 100,000 was too little. She was in urgent need of money and had nowhere else to turn. Otherwise, why would she sell the car? Then Jingshu saw how shameless Su Mimi was. She actually started to cry. My elder brother got married with my parents' support. My sister got married with my elder brother's parents' dowry. My parents passed away when I got married, and the inheritance was left to my elder brother. I have nothing. God is so unfair. I have to buy things for my dear sister. My dear sister doesn't care about my sister's life or death. Jing's mother's veins jumped, and her heart slowly cooled down. She never knew that she had paid so much, but in the end, she was still such a person in her younger sister's heart. The car is given to you. Just think of it as your parents' supplement for your dowry. Now that your parents are gone, let's part ways in peace. Jing's mother was very sad. Really gave it to me? Su Mimi knew that Jing's mother was angry, but Jing's mother was soft-tempered and would come back after a few days of coaxing. Yeah. Jing's mother was sad before, and now she is disappointed. Hearing the emotionless answer, Su Mimi realized that something was wrong and immediately made amends. How can I let my sister suffer a loss? I will take out my private money and buy a car for 120,000 yuan. Okay. Jing's mother closed her eyes and regarded it as a dowry for Su Mimi. From then on, they owed each other nothing. Su Mimi was so excited that she didn't care about Jing's mother at all. She immediately called Jing's mother to handle the transfer procedures, and the money was transferred to Jingshu on the other side. It was so fast. Su Mimi never thought that she would bargain so hard and offend her sister. The car she bought was for the mistress. Unexpectedly, she was given to the mistress by Zhang Zhongyong on the pretext of giving it to her before she had used it for a day. A few months later, she was so angry that she vomited blood when she saw the mistress driving the car. Then, let's go out to handle the transfer procedures. Jingshu, you take the money and go to sign the contract directly. Jing's father also looked unhappy and comforted Jing's mother distressfully. Although the car was sold at a low price, Jing's mother was almost heartbroken for Su Mimi, right? 120,000 yuan can be exchanged for life-saving supplies and a BMW that will be worthless in a few months. It's not certain who will suffer the loss. For the first time, Jingshu's money reached a huge amount of 817,000 yuan, and she can finally go shopping. The Rubik's Cube space can't store too many supplies, so first you have to buy containers, such as commercial refrigerators, and store some in the villa first, and then move them in when the Rubik's Cube space is upgraded. You also need to buy a lot of electrical appliances which can be installed just when the construction team comes. For example, central air conditioners need to be installed in advance. Otherwise, you'll be overheated in the first year. Although the villa has been renovated, Jingshu believes that there are still too many shortcomings to live in the end of the world. Jingshu must treat the villa as a fortress and completely renovate it Time is tight. Jingshu took a taxi to Suning to find the account manager directly, Manager Wang. This middle-aged uncle said that the Double 11 event has begun. Now you can get a tenfold refund for overpriced purchases, and there are many activities such as giving away various things. Jingshu didn't waste time and directly asked for a central space with a maximum power of 1 to 10, ensuring that even if it was hot as a dog outside in the first year of the apocalypse, every room in the house would be warm as spring. She asked for 6 large commercial refrigerators with a capacity of 1,000 liters. If conditions permit, she would naturally build a small cold storage. The basement is for storing ordinary supplies. In case of emergency, she can only buy a refrigerator. We are not short of money now. After buying various seeds, we can be self-sufficient in space planting and have some left over. What we lack are daily necessities and exquisite snacks that can improve the quality of life. So we can buy as much as we want, including a washer-dryer and a large-capacity dishwasher, since we can generate electricity ourselves. There was no water in the first year of the apocalypse. Jingshu remembers that she used her own bowl and licked it clean. Later, the clothes were so dirty that we couldn't tell what color they were. In the second year of the apocalypse, it rained heavily every day, but the clothes never dried. In this world, if conditions permit, we still choose energy-saving dishes and laundry. After all, there is recyclable water. We bought a complete set of water circulation and filtration system, including water purifiers, ultrafiltration machines, tap water purifiers, RO reverse osmosis filters, etc. And the 3 layers inside and outside of the filter element that has been matched for 10 years are all installed for filtration, so that even microorganisms can be filtered out. For commercial water collection tanks and filtration circulation systems cost a total of 100,000 yuan. Although the heavy rain in the second year of the apocalypse temporarily stopped the world from being short of water, it also gave rise to a new species, a red nematode that accompanies the heavy rain. The next year, it was raining insects, not raining insects. They were red all over, with black ends. The big ones were several centimeters, and the small ones were only a few millimeters. They were very thin, a little thicker than hair. As long as there was water, they could survive and reproduce. Half of the rain was this kind of insects. They also liked to jump around. When you turned on the faucet, there were insects. Do you think the red nematodes have become a disaster? Haha, too naive. Do you believe that the Chinese people can eat a species that is on the verge of extinction? I don't know about Australia and the United States, but the red nematodes saved hundreds of millions of Chinese people. That year, you could see countless people fishing and catching this kind of red nematodes every day, catching them from their bodies, catching them with basins, and fishing them in flooded areas. They handed them over to the government to calculate the centimeters and exchanged the centimeters for roasted, fried, and fried red nematodes of various flavors. The taste was not good, and the elderly and children next door gave bad reviews, saying that they were not coated with egg liquid. In this life, Jingshu no longer wants to live with insects in wet clothes, and she can always catch a few red nematodes on her body and stuff them into her mouth as snacks. She wanted to keep all the red nematodes out of the villa. When drinking water, she no longer had to filter the eggs in the water over and over again. There were still red nematodes in the water after boiling it over and over again. So the money was worth it. She continued to buy commercial automatic ice makers and small all-in-one multi-purpose grain threshers. Soybeans, wheat, sorghum, millet, rapeseed, soybeans, and corn can all be used. All wheat and rice planted in the future can be threshed. There is no electricity in the end of the world, but you can generate electricity yourself. But if you don't buy the machine, you will have it in the future. So Jingshu selected some machines needed for the 10 years of the end of the world. Small grinding disc, manual meat slicer, meat grinder, ice cream machine, sealing machine, vacuum packaging machine, octopus ball machine. Most of what Jingshu bought required electricity. In the years after the end of the world, China's electricity and firepower resources were used on artificial suns, and the people were almost cut off from electricity. That is, the power supply was only for the news broadcast from 19 to 1930 every day, and there were restrictions. Everyone who needed electricity was stuck at this point. I have to thank the Chinese government. In the 10 years since the end of the world, the news broadcast has never stopped. It can be said that I am waiting for you here in the wind and rain. So Jingshu had to buy the latest generation of solar power generation system that can generate electricity without the sun. After the end of the world, it is not that there is no sun, but the sunlight is blocked by a lot of dust and debris produced by the collision of stars in the upper atmosphere, blocking the sunlight. The temperature will drop sharply at night, and it will be pitch black. During the day, it will be dark soon, with only faint light. Therefore, the efficiency of photovoltaic solar power generation is low. After the end of the world, the electricity generated by the whole system is only enough to run an electric rice cooker. UBC invented bacterial solar cells. I won't talk about the principle. Anyway, as long as there is light, it can generate electricity. Although the efficiency is not high, it can be made up by quantity. Jingshu bought 10 sets of rich people. At first, Manager Wang was very big-mouthed, thinking that he was teasing him. Later, when Jingshu directly paid a deposit of 50,000, the wrinkles on his smiling face became old chrysanthemums. A prize will be drawn every time 5,000 is reached, and 1,000 will be reduced every time 10,000 is reached. The total amount was 340,000, and 34,000 was deducted from the 68 draws, so Jingshu spent 306,000 in just 2 hours. After paying the deposit, leaving the address of the villa, and opening all the orders and requirements, Jingshu hurriedly took a taxi home. She would wait until the next time she bought something to participate in the lottery. If she didn't go back before Jingma finished cooking, she would be scolded. The food cooked by Jingma was enough to shatter Jingshu's many fantasies about food after rebirth. After this busy period, Jingshu must cook for herself. In the evening, she routinely fed the animals with spiritual springs and collected eggs. The marked eggs still had not been laid out. Number 1. The hen that was fed with the most spiritual springs was much larger than the other chickens, and was extremely ferocious. It had become the boss of the 17 chickens. The quails, ducks, and rabbits also grew a circle. Among them, the sows grew the fastest, and were obviously 2 circles larger than the boars. The fish fry in the aquatic space did not change, but the water grass and seaweed were growing wildly. The light in the space and the spiritual springs provided these creatures with sufficient conditions. Most of the 6 fields in the field began to bear fruit. In another 2 to 3 days, a batch of vegetables could be harvested. Jingshu's next plan had to be implemented quickly. On November 4th, Jingshu got up early to exercise and took care of the feces before going home for dinner. Breakfast was Wuching's specialty milk tea, with a thick layer of secret milk skin floating on it. It was chewy, and the milky aroma lingered between the teeth. It was served with fried dough sticks and spicy and sour potato shreds. Jingshu gave the breakfast boss 99 points, and 1 point more for fear that he would be proud. After dinner, the family of 3 went out. I will send your mother to work first, and then take you to Captain Chen. He was responsible for the previous decoration. You should follow the contract to renovate it. If you don't understand, ask Lao Chun and the people at the entertainment company. The account will be on my head, and I will settle it later. Jing's father said while driving, thinking that it seems that it is really time to sell the house. It is really a penny that forces a hero to fall. Mom and Dad, I want to buy a car worth 20,000 or 30,000 yuan so that it is convenient to go to the villa to decorate it. I can't go to the company with you every day and then let Uncle Chen take me to the villa and then come back with them in the afternoon, right? After the villa is decorated, the car can also be driven to work by Mom. It's time to clear the way for the energy car. Okay, let your mom give you some more money. Jing's father thought about the loss from selling the BMW, so it would be better not to sell it. Captain Chen and his team of 6 people are a small renovation team with clear division of labor and high efficiency. Captain Chen and Carpenter Master Lu came to the villa to listen to what Jingshu wanted to redecorate the villa. After the end of the world, order still exists and the villa is protected by the town government, but Jingshu still plans to arm the villa to the teeth. I want to build 4 tempered glass walls on the original 2-meter wall to surround the villa, and then make a tempered glass roof that can be folded and closed to seamlessly combine with 4 tempered glass walls, steel structure trusses, inverted triangle special-shaped tempered glass. This appearance is unique. The protective cover is necessary because it is necessary to prevent insects, rain, hurricanes, heavy snow, and thieves. There is no need to worry about the renovation of the villa attracting prying eyes. After the end of the world, the tempered glass will be covered by more than 10 centimeters of black soil. This place is protected by the Huaxia town government, and the order has not collapsed. In front of big data, almost no one dares to commit a crime. Of course, Jingshu herself will set traps and be fully armed. All weapons must be available. Master Lu swallowed his saliva, and Captain Chen's jaw dropped in shock. Tempered glass is too expensive. Why not consider composite glass or cement walls? The safety of the apocalypse is high, and the key is to save time. Once the frame is built, install the tempered glass and it's done. It's like putting a big cover on the villa. She doesn't have time to waste it. For beauty, Jingshu thought about it. This reason is not wrong. Okay, the company has a batch of tempered glass that can't be sold. It just happens that the cost price is more than 100,000. Captain Chen quickly wrote down the materials. By the way, replace all the glass with 3-layer hollow glass, which is tall and stylish and also heat insulating and sound insulating. Jingshu took out the design drawings and began to speak out the ideas of these days one by one. In the 4th year of the apocalypse, there were frequent mountain explosions and mudslides. There were thunders every day, but no rain. Thunder and lightning exploded next to the ears. All kinds of sounds were shocking. Sometimes a muffled thunder exploded, and the whole house was shaking. Sound insulation is necessary. Jingshu still remembers the heavy snow in the 5th year. She didn't know how many people died of freezing and starvation. Many people died of freezing in the process of digging tree roots. Jingshu's body was covered with frostbite, which was itchy and painful. When it broke, it would pus and scab, leaving a big scar. She had to do endless work every day to exchange for a little bark and rotten food, which was not enough to eat. She clenched her fists. She didn't want to be covered with frostbite and disfigured this time. I want to build a boiler room behind the villa and connect the boiler to 2 stoves so that we can cook without turning on the fire in winter. I will add a kong, grill meat and naan inside, and build a coal room at the innermost. Jingshu pointed to a row of corridors behind the villa and said, thinking of the non-pit meat. The floor heating in the north is burned by floor heating. The floor heating in Jingshu's villa is burned by a wall-mounted boiler. The amount of gas burned is paid for. But after the 2nd year of the apocalypse, all gas and electricity resources are supplied by artificial suns, and the government can only grow some food. As for cooking by yourself, it is even more impossible. There is nothing to eat. Therefore, it is necessary to add a boiler room to burn it yourself. When the time comes, you can cook with coal or charcoal, and the floor heating and air conditioning provide double warmth. The 2nd step of the fortress transformation, warm in winter and cool in summer, with water and electricity, full of food and a good life. This is simple. Just open a door in the corner of your kitchen. Captain Chen breathed a sigh of relief, fearing that Jingshu would come up with another wild idea. Jingshu took the 2 to the front yard of the villa. I originally planned to plant flowers on these 2 sides, but now I want to dig a small pond on the left, a little deeper. I want to raise lotus and fish. Install 2 rows of fluorescent lamps that imitate sunlight above the pond. I am afraid that there will be insufficient sunlight in winter. The middle aisle remains unchanged, and I want to make a water storage circulation system under the right side and continue to plant things on it. Captain Chen quickly wrote down the required materials. It will be fine as long as the waterproofing is done. Don't worry. The pond is relatively small, about 8 square meters, and the water storage circulation side is about 20 square meters. Jingshu plans to plant more than 20 square meters of vegetables on it. Jingshu took the 2 to the gate of the yard again. Build a storage room in this area, and help me divide it into 4 enclosed areas. In fact, it is used to raise chickens and pigs. After talking about the needs outside the villa, Jingshu took the 2 into the villa. Jing's father used the best materials and anti-theft doors and windows to decorate the villa, including a hidden basement and anti-theft doors, which do not need to be replaced. Move the dining room to the main hall, connect the kitchen and the dining room to make a large kitchen, then build another row of cabinets here, and build a door over there to connect to the boiler room as you said. This way, there will be a place for the large freezer and the purchase supplies. Thinking of a super large kitchen filled with all kinds of food and supplies, Jingshu felt full of security. Change the living room on the 2nd floor into a greenhouse constant temperature room. This requires a lot of engineering, such as changing water and electricity, changing pipes, making insulation and shelves, and setting up light stands. Finally, Jingshu came to the 40 terrace on the 3rd floor, but unfortunately it had been reserved for various water tanks and solar power generation. Jingshu originally wanted to farm, but thinking of the serious water shortage in the first year, she decided to put more water tanks so that she could grow some crops in the next few years. The third step of the fortress transformation, being able to farm, having poultry, eggs to eat, and milk to drink. It took an hour to communicate with Captain Chen and Master Lu about the ideas of both parties, and then the two signed a contract, and the villa reconstruction was officially handed over to Master Chen's team. It will be completed in 15 days. In the afternoon, Master Chen took Jingshu to select various materials and then signed. All the materials were selected in one day. The total cost was estimated to be more than 400,000 yuan, which shocked Jingshu herself. When she went home for dinner in the evening, Jing's father was hesitant to speak. Seeing his daughter wolfing down the food, he finally said nothing. His daughter smiled less and talked less recently. She used to like dressing up the most and wore different clothes every day, but now she hasn't changed her clothes for several days. What's wrong? On November 7th, the quails in Jingshu's space hatched. Jingshu fed the 10 newly hatched quails with diluted spiritual spring water and numbered them. She also marked the new eggs and collected a wave of chicken and duck eggs. Unfortunately, the chicken and duck eggs did not hatch. They have been incubated for 5 days. Jingshu wondered if she should use eggs numbered 1 to hatch them faster. The hen numbered 1 has grown a circle and can lay an exaggerated 10 eggs every day. According to the acceleration, numbered 1 should have entered a week period, but it has not. It is still a fighter among hens. Jingshu decided to observe for another 7 days. If the situation remained the same, she could take the spiritual spring water in moderation. After using it for a period of time without side effects, she could give some spiritual spring water to her parents as well. The growth of cattle, sheep, and pigs was very encouraging. They were already half grown. According to this progress, in more than 20 days, the sows, sheep, and cattle would be mature. The males would have to wait for more than a month. It seemed that growth was really related to the spiritual spring water. Jingshu was so busy these days that she could not touch the ground. She just installed the central air conditioner and the solar power generation system. She asked Captain Chen to deliver the remaining appliances after he modified the kitchen. For super large water tanks almost filled the balcony, so Jingshu was finally no longer afraid of not being thirsty and unable to drink water in the first year of the apocalypse. She could only survive by licking her lips and swallowing her saliva. The steel frame of the inverted triangle tempered glass wall that Jingshu wanted had been built, and the retractable top layer had been designed. The glass would be embedded tomorrow, and it would be done. Jingshu, who had half the sky today, was going to collect grain. Although Jingshu's field can also grow food, it takes several days, and it needs to be processed and shelled. What Jingshu lacks most now is time. Buy a batch first, and plant a batch when it is almost eaten, so that it can be used to fish in troubled waters. First go to Wuching Grain, Oil, Rice, and Flour Wholesale Center. Jingshu wholesales 100 bags of 40 gene flour, 60 yuan per bag. 100 bags of 20 gene vacuum rice, 95 yuan per bag. 200 bags of 10 gene vacuum Thai fragrant rice, 70 yuan per bag. 10 bags of 20 gene grains, 40 yuan per bag. In the north, noodles are indispensable staple foods. Considering that flour processing is not easy, Jingshu bought more flour. Jingma is not good at making noodles. After the end of the world, Jingshu can show off her skills, thanks to the skills she learned from her grandmother. Thai fragrant rice is one of Jingshu's favorite rices. It is fragrant and sticky. Whether it is eaten dry or sloppy, its fragrance cannot be covered. Using it to make fried rice can best stimulate the most original fragrance of the combination of egg and rice, and the taste is amazing. Slurp. 100 barrels of 5L peanut oil, 120 yuan per barrel. 30 barrels of 2L olive oil, 180 yuan per barrel. You need to save more oil and then fry more chicken legs and fish pieces and put them in the space as snacks. Jingshu filled the 3-meter high shelves in the basement, just put all these supplies full of security, left the address of the villa, and paid 47,300 yuan. Jingshu went to the dry goods wholesale market next door. The dry goods wholesale is also very straightforward, not sold in small quantities, but in bulk of one piece/box. Each store sells different things, but there are many kinds of dry goods. Jingshu visited each store, moved them into her car one by one, and then transferred them to the magic cube space. Before dark, the car was finally full, and the space was full. They bought 5 boxes of sweet potato vermicelli, lonco vermicelli, streaky bacon, Cantonese sausage, Sichuan sausage, and Ely horse sausage. In the end times, Jingshu would not dare to hope to eat this kind of meat in her previous life. Of course, the red nematodes are the same as what you eat. They are the dried skins that come out. She also bought 2 boxes of white fungus, black fungus, seaweed, bamboo fungus, dried shiitake mushrooms, dried tea tree mushrooms, bean curd, bean skin, kelp, dried preserved vegetables, dried scallops, dried shrimp, dried halwa, dried bamboo shoots, and dried squid. Jingshu plans to buy many 60-liter storage boxes to put the dry goods in and put them directly in the cupboard. She can take whatever she wants to eat, and she can put everything in the magic cube space when she flees from the villa. The dry goods cost a total of 30,000 yuan, which is the most cost-effective of all the supplies. They do not need to be refrigerated, have a long shelf life, and do not take up space. You can have a meal at a time. For example, 1 pound of dried black fungus can be soaked to make 10 to 15 pounds of black fungus, and a handful can be used to stir-fry a full plate of vegetables. After the end of the world, if you grab some dried goods for your boss, there will be nothing you can't do. Compared with dried goods, dried fruits are far behind. Dried fruits will get worms and peel after a long time, and the shell is full of meat. They are not edible and have a short shelf life, so Jingshu only bought 100 pounds of each. Figs, macadamia nuts, pecans, charcoal roasted cashews, pistachios, red dates with walnuts, chestnut kernels, raisins, badam, dried cranberries, pumpkin seeds, original melon seeds, spiced melon seeds, and caramel melon seeds. She bought 400 pounds of Brazilian pine nuts at 80 yuan per pound, which is one of her favorite snacks. Jingshu was so greedy that she couldn't walk when she saw these. The reason she could survive in the end of the world was mostly because of a belief to persist in living until the day when there are Brazilian pine nuts to eat. She really persisted. She can finally eat Brazilian pine nuts anytime. It is not easy to be able to bear the urge to purchase according to the plan and buy more snacks. So even if it costs 69,000 yuan, takes up 10 cubic meters of the Rubik's Cube space, and can only be stored in the space in the future, Jingshu thinks it is worth it. Remember when the earthquake happened? Everyone was crowded together. Jingshu watched the kid next door lick the melon seed shell for a few minutes every time he ate a melon seed. She was so greedy that she couldn't sleep all night. She kept wondering whether the kid's melon seeds were original or spiced. She didn't lick the bowl after eating. Only the rich in the end times would eat melon seeds without licking the shell. Jingshu happily spit out the melon seed shells and lived a rich life in advance. It smells so good. Look at you, there are pine nut shells and melon seed shells everywhere. You are the same as your dad, with cigarette ashes everywhere. Clean up quickly after eating. It's the biological mother, confirmed. After Jing's mother finished speaking, she glared at Jing's father, who immediately flattered her. Thank you for your hard work. I'll give you a massage tonight. That's more like it. When inspecting the space at night, Jingshu was surprised to find that the fish feed shrimps given by the aquatic product owner had grown into groups of large shrimps, becoming the overlords of the water, multiplying very quickly and laying so many small shrimps that other fish fry could not eat them all. In order to curb the infestation of large shrimps, Jingshu made a heart-wrenching decision to make a shrimp feast tomorrow. The mustard and cowpeas in the field will not mature until tomorrow, and the other red peppers, cabbages, white radishes, cucumbers, spring bamboo shoots, and garlic have been harvested. Those that should be kept for seed have been kept for seed, and the rest have been squeezed into the 6 cubic meter magic cube space by Jingshu for preservation. Jingshu knew that the space field was abnormal, but she didn't expect it to be so abnormal. Such dense plantings actually survived and grew so vigorously. One squeezed on top of another without deforming, filling the small field in all directions. Each of them was large and plump, full of life. Jingshu's 64 cubic meters of magic cube space is now used as follows. 1 cubic meter of spiritual spring water, 6 cubic meters of land, 19 cubic meters of poultry, 8 cubic meters of fish, 1 cubic meter of mushroom bags, 1 cubic meter of seeds, 3 cubic meters of chicken, duck, and quail eggs, 6 cubic meters of vegetables, 10 cubic meters of dried fruits, 1 cubic meter of feed, 1 cubic meter of fish mealworms, and 7 cubic meters of dry goods. Jingshu squeezed the cultivated potatoes, sweet potatoes, and yams sent by the boss into the field, and transplanted them there after the villa was completed. The feed for a small house was placed in the villa. Now Jingshu picked various vegetable leaves to feed poultry, and the feed needed was less. Jingshu moved the space and the dry goods in the car to the villa the next day. The rice, flour, and oil she bought also arrived. Jingshu asked the master to move them to the room, and she used the space to move them to the rows of shelves in the basement. The seasonings had been put in the past 2 days, and with the food and dry goods temporarily stored, the basement was almost full. Seeing that the villa has been completely covered by the tempered glass that gives a sense of security, Jingshu feels full of a sense of accomplishment. The pond and the reservoir have been dug, tiled, and waterproofed. After 2 days of no leakage or seepage, we can continue the follow-up work. The boiler room at the back is still under construction, and the chicken house in the front yard has not been built yet. Your father and Mr. Wang had a big fight. Someone reported that your father abused his power for personal gain and used this batch of the best quality tempered glass. Someone proposed to fire your father and force him to withdraw his shares. The outstanding material fees must be paid within 3 days. A board meeting will be held at the end of the month to discuss this matter. You should be mentally prepared. Uncle Chin suddenly said to Jingshu. Jingshu looked at the colorful tempered glass and said, "Isn't it unsellable? We also bought it at cost price." Uncle Chin showed a meaningful look. Cost is loss. I heard that the company has a new person who will be responsible for the government order with your father. They plan to sell the tempered glass to the government at a high price. So Jing's father, who didn't block people's money in the previous life, is fine. Did Jingshu's request for tempered glass cause a butterfly effect in this life? Uncle Chin blew out a smoke ring. The best result is to add the profit money of tempered glass and end this matter. After all, the money for withdrawing shares is temporary, and dividends are the long-term way. Go back and persuade your father to admit his mistake. After all, Mr. Wang still has some feelings for him. This is really an unintentional success. Jingshu was originally thinking about how to make Jing's father withdraw his shares. After all, Jing's father has worked for more than 20 years and has a lot of feelings. Unexpectedly, due to coincidence, he was fired by the withdrawal of shares, and there was another sum of money to buy supplies. Okay. Jingshu tried to make a sad expression, for fear that she would not be able to hold back her laughter. She might be a fake daughter. After finishing the villa, Jingshu went home early to prepare a shrimp feast to reward Jing's father's injured heart. Hundreds of prawns larger than 8 centimeters in the space were taken out and transferred to an independent space of 1 cubic meter. Jingshu used her absolute control over everything in the space to quickly clean and devein the prawns. She peeled some of the prawns, opened some of the backs, and marinated them with cooking wine, soy sauce, and salt, and prepared auxiliary materials such as chopped green onions, shredded ginger, and crushed garlic. In reality, it would take at least 1 or 2 hours to clean and devein the prawns, but Jingshu could do it in 5 minutes in the space. She put rice in a pot and boiled a large pot of porridge, fried the prawn heads and boiled shrimp oil, put the shrimp oil and prawns in the pot, added seasoning, and continued to boil, while frying the minced garlic, brushing the baking tray with oil, skewering the prawns and sprinkling the minced garlic, and putting them in the oven to bake for 10 minutes. Pour oil into the pot and stir-fry the prawns until fragrant. Then take them out, add more oil and add ginger and garlic to stir-fry until fragrant. Stir-fry the tomato sauce until red oil, add the prawns and seasonings, bring to a boil over high heat, cover over low heat and simmer over high heat for 2 minutes. Add the scallion segments and boil over high heat until the sauce thickens. Jingshu licked it once and nodded, and serve the braised prawns on a plate. Add water to a pot and add ginger and scallions to boil. Add shrimps and cook for 1 minute. Remove and place on a plate. Add dipping sauce and serve the boiled shrimps. Coat the remaining marinated shrimps with starch, egg liquid, and breadcrumbs. Heat the oil and fry them on low heat until golden brown. Serve the fried shrimps with breadcrumbs. Beat 6 eggs, add water and salt, add shrimps, wrap with plastic wrap and steam. After steaming, pour steamed fish soy sauce and sesame oil on them, and serve a dish of steamed shrimps and eggs. The oven made a dripping sound, and Jingshu took out the last garlic roasted shrimps and served them. The fresh shrimp porridge gurgled and exuded a rich fragrance. When the parents came back, sprinkled with chopped green onions and served. As soon as Jing's father opened the door, he smelled the fragrance of the whole house, some roasted, some fried, and some soup-like fresh fragrance. Jingshu poked her head out with sauce on the corner of her mouth. I cooked. Who knew that there were 3 people following Jing's father? Wow, I knew it smelled so good that it must not be made by Aunt Sue. Sun Zijin, who had acne all over his face, walked in first with a girl wearing a miniskirt and a leather coat. Sun Zijin? Jingshu shouted in surprise. Although Sun Zijin had acne all over his face at that time, he was tall and fat, unlike 10 years later when he was skinny and bony. Jingshu, this is my girlfriend Xiao Xiao. Your dad said he would celebrate my birthday and go out for a meal. Sun Zijin reached out and grabbed a fried shrimp and stuffed it into his mouth. Fuck, it's so delicious. Dad, let's eat at Uncle Jing's house. Jingshu clenched her fists tightly, closed her eyes, and held back. She had to hold back. If she beat Sun Zijin here, Jing's father would be passive, and their family would have more reason not to pay back the money. Okay, eat wherever you say. 10 years ago, Uncle Sun was very fair and had a standard beer belly, unlike Jing's father who insisted on exercising to keep in shape. Hello, sister. Xiao Cao's coquettish voice made Jingshu shudder. She kept hugging Sun Zijin's arms, swaying from side to side, revealing a timid expression, as if only Sun Zijin could give her security. This really made Sun Zijin very happy. Then let's eat. Why are these shrimps so delicious? Sun Zijin had already picked up the shrimp skewers and started eating them. By the way, he told Xiao Xiao not to be polite and treat him as her own, as if he was the master. My mom hasn't come back yet. Jingshu felt so sick in her heart. The carefully prepared meal was ruined by an uneducated person. Jingshu's little universe was about to explode, and she couldn't hold it in any longer. Jing's father asked Uncle Sun to sit down and said, "Your mom will be back very late after working overtime. We won't wait for her. Then I'll leave 1 portion for you." Jingshu picked up the pot and pushed each portion out hard, telling herself to stay calm and not be impulsive. Hey, there aren't many to begin with, and it will be gone if we make more, and Aunt Sue can't eat so much. Sun Zijin pulled Jingshu's arm and said dissatisfiedly, but was frightened by Jingshu's vicious eyes and held back. Really, it's my birthday, isn't it? Jingshu wanted to beat up the ungrateful wolves in her previous life, the family who opened the door with internal and external cooperation. Of course, she couldn't give them a good face, and she was too lazy to even act. Each of them had a big bowl of shrimp porridge, and they finished all kinds of delicious and juicy shrimps at lightning speed. Among them, Jingshu was the fastest. She picked up the grilled shrimp, opened her mouth, and gently tore the whole shrimp into her mouth. A big spoonful of shrimp steamed egg melted in her mouth, then grabbed the shrimp tail and bit off the fried shrimp. The other hand grabbed the shrimp again and used both hands to cooperate with her mouth. The delicate Xiao Xiao didn't care about her image. She picked only the shrimp meat from the shrimp steamed egg with a chopstick. Sun Zijin was anxious because his hands were covered with red oil from peeling shrimps. He took the steamed egg and scooped it into his mouth with a spoon. In 2 bites, he finished the egg and the shrimp. Jing's father hesitated to talk about paying back the money several times, but the company suddenly asked him to pay back the outstanding money, so he had to find an excuse to ask Lao's son out to pay back the money quickly. In addition, he might be fired by the company, and Jing's father's mood reached the freezing point. Hiccup, Dad, bring some back to my mother. Sun Zijin was still not satisfied after finishing the meal. He drank 3 bowls of shrimp porridge in a row and couldn't drink anymore. Jingshu admires the fact that after eating at someone else's house, they still pack up another portion. Jing's father is so obsessed with money that he ignores Sun Zijin. In the past, he would definitely take the initiative to bring a portion for Sun Zijin. You have to ask Jingshu about this. Uncle Sun's mouth was also full of oil. He was picky and had never eaten such delicious shrimps, especially shrimp porridge. Jingshu, can you share your mother's portion? Sun Zijin said with a playful smile. Auntie Wang must like such delicious food. Xiao Xiao showed his reserved look again. They were like this in their previous life. Because Jing's father and Jing's mother said that they would treat this place as their own home, they really treated it as their own home. Jing's father has always been grateful and never thought there was anything wrong. My mother is looking forward to eating a meal cooked by me. This is a homework assignment and cannot be shared. Jingshu refused directly, without leaving any room for negotiation. Sun Zijian snorted. This is the first time I didn't eat enough at someone else's house. Xiao Chao, let's go out for barbecue. Okay, brother Zijian, I'm not full either.